I'm Aryeh Schwartz, along with Rachel Galligan, and welcome to the Winsidr Show, where it's all about the W. There's less than a week left in this regular season. With so much action going on, hot topics to discuss, it's time we dive in and chat all things WNBA. If you like our show, please consider joining our Patreon community, patreon.com/Winsidr. For less than a cup of coffee a month, you can directly show support for the hard work we do covering the W. And don't forget to see our amazing staff's written content on winsidr.com. That's winsidr.com. If you're looking for a fun way to enjoy the W, join Winsidr over on Playback for our WNBA watch parties. It's a live stream of the game. Enjoy the fun. We do some giveaways. The link is playback.tv/Winsidr. That's playback.tv/Winsidr. And mark your calendars. September 11th, after the WNBA regular season has concluded and before the playoffs begin, we'll be doing a live taping of the Winsidr Show on Playback. Make sure you join us. The link is playback.tv/Winsidr. Welcome to the Winsidr Show. Honored to be back with Hall of Famer Rachel Galligan.
Stop it.
Rachel, a pretty wild weekend in the W. I mean, in the sense of there's some talkable things to talk about, stuff.
We've got a week left. I mean, yeah, there's a lot to talk about, I guess, from that sense.
I mean, it's getting heated, right? Like, I feel there's a very intense race going on for that last 8 seed. We saw Dallas and Minnesota lock in the 4th and 5th team to lock in playoff spots over this past week. Indiana has been, what's the term?
Eliminated.
Thank you. It's been a long weekend. Has been eliminated from playoff contention. And we see DC go on a hot streak, a cold streak. We've seen, I don't know, it's to me, this is kind of, while it's a little bit more dull, this is one of my favorite parts of the regular season, because the beginning of the season, it's so much of, well, we don't know yet, right? We can't judge them because maybe that was a fluke, maybe it wasn't a fluke. And that's like the whole, I don't know, voice in my head going up until the halfway mark. And then you get to the halfway mark and it's like, okay, teams have established themselves. And now where we are today, it's kind of like you can look at the whole season as a whole and really think about what we've learned about these teams, what we've seen, what teams excel in, what players have grown to new heights. And I just think it's an exciting time, because it's also a time where, I don't know, my ears start, my wheels start rolling, thinking about free agency and all that jazz. And, one day how you and I are going to manage a team to a WNBA championship. But do you feel like you've learned anything particularly in this past week or weekend?
I reminded myself about the vast amount of inconsistencies we've seen throughout the course of this entire season. I mean, a week ago we were talking about the Mystics, like they were getting ready to turn it on and they were healthy and they were gonna, oh man, look who's gonna have to play the Mystics in the playoffs. And then they go lay an egg against LA without NECA, and it's like, how does that happen? I don't understand this Mystics team. I genuinely do not. I don't understand this team. Again, Elena Deladon being in and out. They have battled some injuries and back and forths, and again, the injuries are just a small microcosm of a lot of the injuries. LA's battled injuries. I mean, we could go down the line, but, I look at like that Mystics team again, a week ago, last time we were recording, we're feeling one type of way. You even had them having a big win. Like you picked them to who'd you pick them to beat?
She's only bringing this up because Rachel has taken all season been losing in pick'em, and somehow at the very end takes the lead.
Yep.
2-game lead. Yes, I had them after a couple wins taking on the Aces. The Aces were looking a little bit struggly.
They were good, and the Mystics looked good. And I thought that was a solid pick. I genuinely did. But then, nope, here we go. It's a rough week. And then I look at Dallas. I mean, I love this Dallas Wings team, but then there's moments where you're just like, I can't go that extra jump with them because then they go lose to the Fever. Now, granted, is a little bit of that, like, we're secured. Fever have nothing to lose. It's a little bit of a trap game. It's just,
it's definitely a trap game.
You look at Dallas, in the month of August, and it was win a game, lose 3, win 3, lose 2, win 2, lose 1. There's just some inconsistencies here with this team that just like, I want them to take that extra jump, like whatever that jump is, like just one extra step to find a little more consistency. But again, I love this team. I think they've got a ton of talent. Satu has been phenomenal to watch all year long. I love the play of McCowan and Brown. I mean, I really do enjoy this team, but there's just something inconsistent about them, especially on the defensive end of the floor. But that's besides the point. So I said this week, now that we're looking back with 1 week left, just the inconsistent reminder of what this season has been across the board, And then how about like LA? They drop a really tough game to the Chicago Sky on a really, really tough no call down the stretch. And like a lot of people, it's like, man, this is the season. It's over. This sucks. And then they end up, beating the Mystics, and they're still barely hanging on. They're a game ahead Chicago, for that final spot in the playoffs. Like, it's going to be really interesting. Like, it really is going to come down to next Sunday and who makes this playoff.
It's going to be wild. And, to your point, I think, look, Dallas is like an old time boxer who's past their prime, fighting, excuse my language, low level or crap fighters to try and get up to full game speed to get that last shot at the belt.
Dallas or Washington?
I'm talking about Washington. Okay. Sorry, did I say Dallas? I meant DC. That's who they are to me. It's like, we know what they can be. It doesn't matter what happens from here on out. And honestly, if I'm them, and I've been saying this, I almost wanted them. Like, I think it's better for them to drop, because if they're at a lower seed, they're going to face one of those top teams. And I think they match up when healthy. And obviously it all comes down to health and whether or not Elena Delle Donne has, is healthy, but also has played enough games. And that's where I get to this, like, fighting lower seeded fighters to get ready, because she needs to be able to play and impact. And when you're coming off an injury and you're playing your first few games, your legs aren't there. Your body just isn't at, that game ready level. And so for me, it's like, we just need to get Deli some reps. We just need to get her comfortable and ready to roll come playoff time. Obviously they haven't, as we've discussed, they haven't clinched playoffs yet. So they need to do that also. Realistically, it's pretty unlikely that they don't make the playoffs.
I don't know. They've lost 2 in a row. Okay. They play Phoenix, which, like, okay. I don't even know what to say about that whole situation right now. There's a lot. Phoenix is like the new Indiana Fever, it's a lot to unpack with that. But, would it be completely unusual for Phoenix to go off and end up winning that game? It's totally possible. And then Washington's got to face the Atlanta Dream. That's a huge game. Those two are, pretty much neck and neck in the standings. That's a huge one. And then they'll wrap up the season next Sunday against the New York Liberty at New York. So it's a big week. Big week for Washington. I have no idea what direction it's going to go. Like, you say, like, put your money down. What's going to happen? I have no idea. I don't know what to make of this team.
But that's why they're Washington, right? Like, and I think realistically, if anything this season does, is it kind of opens up Washington's eyes to the reality of the situation of their franchise, and they need to make some changes this offseason. But a little rant. Actually, you know what? Before we go on this rant, Aryeh, man, like, can we just talk about it? Post-game press conference, a fair question is asked to head coach Latricia Trammell, I think at least from the media, asking something to the effect of, look, there's multiple times that no calls happen or something happens and your players are upset visibly. And instead of continuing the play and continuing the game, they end up complaining to the refs, which causes easy buckets for the opponent, which ends up snowballing, quicksanding into a loss. Or, whatever, I'm exaggerating it, but you get what I mean. LT basically said, ask the players, I've tried. And Aryeh gets asked it. And this is kind of a situation where, like, and you can fully disagree with me, Rachel. Like, I think it's a situation where, maybe we're reading too much into it, but a huge thing for this season has been the buy-in and the accountability. And that's champions are made from buy-in, accountability, and obviously skill in a variety of different ways and other elements and luck and blah, blah. But like, when you can't have the accountability to say something to just like, to say like, oh, go ask coach. I don't know. It starts to irk me in the way of like, I've been saying this, that like, this is Satu's team and Aryeh hasn't shown that leadership, and somebody on this team needs to do that if they want to take that next step. And that just like, to me, it was just like one of those eye roll moments of like, are we really doing this right now when we're trying to make a playoff push?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Emotions are running high. You just lost.
Fair.
You lost a game that you shouldn't have lost, at home. Like, so I think there is an element, like for me, I take it kind of with like a grain of salt, given the context of like what had gone down that game. But at the same time, it's not a good look. Not a good look for anyone, like just the franchise at all. Like it's because now you've got fans and people just being like, oh man, there's going to be a trade. Oh man, I don't see her a part of the organization long term. Oh man, the sky's caving in. Like, I don't know. I think there's frustrations. I think sometimes things get said that get blown out of proportion. It's definitely, I don't think it was handled great. But again, like I personally kind of chalk it up to like, okay, like not handled well, but at the same time, like then it's like from a coach's perspective, it's kind of just like everyone seems frustrated. Everyone seems frustrated because the back and forth issues that the Wings feel like they've dealt with for the last month, the inconsistencies that I was alluding to a little bit earlier, and then you top it off with a loss to the Fever like that. Like you're not feeling great right now headed into the last week of the season. So now it's just a matter of like the team righting the ship a little bit, letting this go, talking it out, allowing those leadership and those accountability type things to run rampant through the entire team, because Aryeh needs to be this leader. She needs to be the leader that this team, is demanding of her and looking to take that jump. And I hope it can happen, because I love her with this organization. And I feel like for the majority of the season, it seemed really good there. It feels like it's a good dynamic with Trammell and her, and it's not like this is the only thing that was like, okay, that kind of sucks.
Well, it felt like exactly. It felt like they had overcome some things and they were headed in the right direction, and this is like one of those like,
and that's
come
where
on.
I kind of have to chalk it up to just like, okay, frustrated moments, tough loss. Like for the majority of this season, this team has looked really in tune with one another, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not going to go like freaking out and the sky's caving in Dallas because of a comment and a presser after a bad loss. I'm not that concerned, to be honest with you, at least right now.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Okay. The rant I want to do, right? Like Alyssa Thomas. Alyssa freaking Thomas. I mean, okay, so we can go based on stats, like as of now, we can go, I just want to like, as of August 27th, I know that's what, like 7 days ago. So things have changed since then. I started compiling all these stats. I didn't have time before we recorded to update everything. So keep that in mind. But no player in league history has led the league in assists and rebounds. Now, as of August 27th, so essentially with 2 weeks left in the season, Alyssa Thomas was doing just that. Okay. How insane is that? We talk about, MVP caliber players. And I think at a certain point this season, there was a push to include Alyssa Thomas in the conversation, but I almost feel like it was a pity inclusion, if it were, where it was like, yeah, she's doing something great, but A'ja Wilson and Brianna Stewart are so far above her that she's not actually like, yeah, she's doing great. But here's the thing. It's most valuable player. You cannot tell me that the Connecticut Sun would be the number 3 seeded team right now if Alyssa Thomas goes down.
No, the impact on the Connecticut Sun that Alyssa Thomas has is incomprehensible. Bottom line, from the minute played to the shot creation, from ability to, her presence on the floor is literally the success they've had this year is majority because of her. The work she's done and the way she's impacted this team. So that, again, if we're talking about most valuable player, how does a team change when that player is not on the floor? If that player is out, if there's an injury or they're gone, how much does that impact the team? Again, what it's going to come down to with the MVP conversation is going to be, again, how do you judge most valuable player? Is it the best player on the best team? Is it the best player with the best stats on the second to best team? Is it the player that impacts the team the most and had broken vast amounts of history throughout the course of the season? You know what I'm saying? That's why we do it every single year. We do this every year. And now it's a different circumstances because Alyssa Thomas, I would say a month and a half ago, it was very just we'll just throw her name in the conversation because she's put up some triple doubles and we'll just have her in there with Stewie and Asia. Really, she should be the favorite for the MVP for the type of impact she's made on this team and the things she's done this season. I don't know if that'll end up being the case, but if we're talking about most valuable player to a top team, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're sitting here, we're talking about how, Asia Wilson has Chelsea Gray, who's one of the greatest point guards of all time, who's crazy insane. Not even talking about Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum, feeding her. And Asia Wilson, this is not we're talking creme de la creme, right? This isn't shade at any player. I don't want people freaking out. Oh, Aryeh is going all crazy again, blah, blah. No,
it comes down to how do you define what is the most valuable player?
How do you define what's most valuable player? Because if we're going to have if you want to have the conversation about Nafisa being in the conversation, if you want to have the conversation about Jewel being in the conversation, you kind of need to go, okay, but then it's Alyssa Thomas's award. Because at the end of the day, she is doing everything for this team. She is scoring at a high clip. Okay. She is leading, as of today, she is leading the league in rebounds. She is tied for assists per game. Okay. She is up there as a top 10. Actually, sorry, I misread Bree Jones. No. She's top. Well, no, I just have to remove Bree Jones from this, but she is a top 5 player when it comes to steals per game. If you even including players like Rebecca Gardner and Bree Jones, who are still up there technically, if we just did that stat, she's still a top 5 player when it comes to that stat. She's not shooting at the highest percentage. Her free throw shot is not the most beautiful free throw shot. I get it. But at the end of the day, what she is doing, lifting this team and continuing the excellency that we've seen throughout the past X amount of years in Connecticut, is so beyond impressive. And that's not even talking about the fact that she has produced we keep talking about this upheaval or this wave of triple doubles in the W this year. Alyssa Thomas has half of those for this year. Alyssa Thomas has almost half of the triple doubles in league history. She is just doing insane things. Now, I'm not saying that it's completely her trophy, right? I think Asia Wilson and Brianna Stewart are making excellent cases for themselves. I think it's going to be very hard for the voters to look past an Asia Wilson 53-point game. I think it's going to be very hard for the voters to look past being a top 2 seed. But the question I always ask when it comes to MVP voting is this an award that goes to the leader and the best player on the best team or the second best team? Or is this an award that goes to the most valuable player from a contending team? I draw the line at contending team. I don't draw the line at top 2 team.
I agree. But also, can we just talk about the durability? Unbelievable. Alyssa Thomas is sitting 3 minutes a game. She's taking 3 minutes to rest during every single game.
Until a couple games ago, Rachel, she was averaging more than 40 minutes a game because they had a couple overtime games.
Unbelievably durable and impactful. It's really amazing the season that AT has had. I mean,
do we mention the on-off court numbers? It's not comparable at all between AT, Stewie, and A'ja Wilson. There's no comparison when it comes to that.
I do think for me, we still have.
We got time.
We got 5 days, and there's a lot. Here's the thing. I put out a little question yesterday about Coach of the Year. I'm not sure that's a no-brainer. That's not a no-brainer. We could go down that rabbit hole for a long time. Most improved, I think there's a really good argument for a couple players in that one. MVP, I personally, I'm going to take until the last minute to make my decision.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I'm trying to think here. Besides Rookie of the Year, is there any award? I guess Executive of the Year, in my opinion, clearly goes Jonathan Cope. Is there Rookie of the Year? Clearly Leah Boston. Is there any other award?
I think it's clear to some people that you'd be like, this is so obvious, MIP is Sabali, but
no. So, but here's my rebuttal to that, and I say this with all due respect. Well, not respect to you, Rachel, because why? But to anybody else, because I don't want them to be offended, But I think if we're not, if you're sitting here today and you're going, it's clearly Brandon Stewart, it's clearly A'ja Wilson, it's clearly it's clearly Alyssa Thomas. I think you're not doing it. You're not justice. I don't think it's fair. I think more time should be put in it. It's a whole season award. We still have some games, and we should be viewing the whole season as whole. So I think. If you are sold, you can. If someone's saying it's clearly so and so, as of now, that's fine. If you're saying I'm voting for this person, that's where I raise eyebrows because you can have your favorites, but the season's not done.
Yeah. If New York goes on an absolute tear and Stewie has a freaking phenomenal week, putting up crazy numbers and doing awesome stuff, and they end up somehow stealing that number 1 seed, am I going to be swayed a little bit? Yeah, damn right I am. I think it's still. With 5 days left, there's still a lot that can be determined, but I definitely, Alyssa Thomas is, if I had to vote today, Alyssa Thomas would have my vote.
Boom. Okay, Rachel.
What are we doing?
It's that time. We're going to, because you're currently sitting ahead of me by 2. It's pick'em time. We're going to do the rest of the season. We're going down. We're doing pull tab style. Just rip them off. We got Sparks at Sun.
See, it's hard. Now you're into a point where, do people just start resting? Do people just start resting bodies because they, Connecticut had a tough loss the other night. Kurt Miller coming back into town. I'm going Connecticut.
Yeah, me too. Sky at Fever.
Chicago Sky are literally fighting and clawing, and
but Fever got nothing to lose.
I know, but I just don't think Chicago's want to and will right now is going to overpower the fact that Fever have nothing to lose. I'm going Chicago.
I'm going to have to annoyingly agree with that. Liberty at Wings.
And do the Wings bounce back after a tough loss, and now you've got a little bit of drama taking place? Or does New York kind of keep this hot streak going? I don't know. I'm a little concerned about Dallas right now. I'm going New York. I think they're going to keep it going.
Well, I'm down 2, so I got to go Wings.
That could go.
Well, no, I agree with the Liberty take. But hey, you never know. The Wings show up against top contenders. Sure. Mystics at Mercury. We know what we're going with.
I don't know.
Rachel, stop. That's precious airtime you're wasting.
You're right.
Storm at Dream.
I'm going to go Atlanta. They're fighting to stay into this mix. Or is it better to not be in the mix? I like this Atlanta Dream team. I think they had a tough loss. I'm going Atlanta. You?
I'm going Storm, just as an attempt to steal one over you, because in my mind now we're tied, or I have a 1 point. No, yeah, now at this point in my mind we're tied We're both going Liberty with Sparks Liberty, right? Like,
yeah,
no question. Dream at Mystics. That's a tough one.
Jesus, who freaking knows? I mean, God, I hate this.
That's the Mystics' second to last game of the season. Keep that in mind.
I hate this one. This is a really good game. I can't wait to watch this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Mystics, home court advantage. I don't know. It's literally flip a coin. It's flip a coin because you just don't know.
Yeah, I know. Mystics at home. I got to go with them too. That's annoying. I was hoping you'd go Dream. Fever at Sun.
Hold on. I'm kind of thinking, should I go Dream instead? Just to mix it up?
You're going Dream. All right.
Let's do it. I might regret that.
She might. Hopefully not. Or hopefully yes. Fever at Sun.
Sun.
Yeah. Storm at Wings.
Wings.
Yep. Lynx at Sky.
Lynx.
Sky.
I don't know. I mean, you got to pick one. We got to pick them. And we're doing a lot right now, man.
We are. I'm going Sky. Aces at Mercury. We're both going Aces. No question. If you said Mercury, then you're just like tossing. You're tanking. Don't say that. Mystics at Liberty.
God, this is the last day.
Yeah.
Mystics. I mean, I'm going New York.
I'm going Mystics only because I think at this point, because
well, now you truly are getting into like resting territory.
Exactly. And the Mystics are going to possibly need to fight.
Yeah. It's not bad. I'll keep it New York, but you do Mystics. That's fine.
Okay. And then we got Wings at Dream again. Not again. Sorry. Wings at Dream.
God. I'm going to go Atlanta. What about you?
All right.
I feel like
you know what I'm going with.
Tanking.
Fever hosting the Minnesota Lynx.
Not feeling good about this right now. I mean, God love Indiana, but I just don't think. I don't know. It's hard. I don't want to do the last day. I don't want to do the last day.
Nope. No cop out on this, Rachel. Minnesota, yeah, I think we're both going there. Mm-hmm. Chicago is at Connecticut.
Could be a lot on the line with that game.
But I don't think there's going to be a lot on the line for Connecticut.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, do I go Chicago? And like Connecticut, it just takes a little time, and like there's
Connecticut rests Alyssa Thomas, maybe.
Yeah, like there's nothing on the line there for Connecticut. Like, I guess in terms of like who you might want to face down the road. I'm gonna go. Ooh, that's tough. I cannot stomach picking Chicago. I can't do it. I can't do it. I love my hometown team, but I can't. I want to, but I can't. I'm going to go Connecticut. I can't do it.
Cool. That works by me because that's going to be the game-changing winner for me. I'm going Chicago on that, and you can go Connecticut. That's cool. Mercury Aces. I think even though it's last game, I think it could be a trap game, and BG could just go off, but because they're sitting half their team. But I don't know. I think I got to stick with my guns. I'm going Aces.
Poor Phoenix. They're just ready to be out. They're ready to be done with the season at this point.
Yeah. We're going Aces. Sparks at Storm, last game of the season.
LA.
For both these teams, possibly. LA. Interesting.
I don't know.
I think it comes down to whether or not NECA plays. That's where it's questioning.
Yeah.
I think Jewel Lloyd's just going to cap off the season with something historic.
It's like what teams want to just keep playing like down the stretch and like, you know, just play free and have fun, or what teams and what players are ready to be done, you know?
Exactly. Well, we've got it all pinned up, got it marked. We'll see who ends up taking home the Pick'em Cup this year. I'm excited. We'll have to figure out what the loser has to do. Rachel, remind me, I forgot real quick. Who's your GOAT?
Cynthia Cooper.